No DNA.
So here I'm just trying to find the perfect start and end points. You see there's a little bit of a delay on it. And I'm just trying to catch the point where it can just smoothly transition to a new loop. So what I'm doing is I'm just layering the original song with my remake. I've synchronized the time so I know what the BPM is and everything. So now we're just trying to match the percussion. We're starting with the claps and then we're moving on to the hi-hats now. It took me a while to fine tune the hi-hat sounds, but eventually I found something I was happy with and it was close enough to the original. So you see the hi-hats are quite melodic. They go with the rhythm quite well. At the end there are 30-second notes. So right at the end of the bar there's the 30-second notes. Everything else is 16ths. So just a simple 1-2 with the hi-hats at the first part of the bar. So basically here we've got the hi-hats, the open hi-hats specifically. So you can see that there's a 2-stage pitch change. So I've started off with the flat hi-hats, the stock hi-hats if you want to call them that. And then I put a pitch LFO on them. So I've broken them up into 2 separate hi-hats because I couldn't do it on one. So one goes down, one goes up. Each of them have different timings as well. But I used machine to make them, what do you want to call it? Timed. So basically, I think they were re-triggered. So every time I re-trigger it, it triggers the LFO from the highest point to the lowest point of pitch. After a lot of A/B-ing, I just perfected it just about. So at this point, I'm moving the hi-hats and getting the high one and the low one. So obviously you can hear it goes down and then up. If you hear the melody of the hi-hats, it kind of goes 1, 2, and then the second one is down, and then 1, 2, the second one is up. So here I'm just trying to get the pitches right and match them with the original song. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, but eventually you kind of build an ear to just hear the little nuances in certain types of music. So here's the LFO. So the LFO would just be triggered every time I triggered the note. It's not going to be synchronized to the sequencer. So as you see, I'm just kind of messing about with the timing. I'm trying to get the timing down of how fast the notes kind of go down and go up. And then obviously in the song, there's a part with that little strum of the congas. I want to call them congas, but I'm not sure of the actual name. But by sound, they sound closest to congas. Okay, so here we're working with the bass drum. All right, so here we're just trying to make sure the sound on the timbre of the bass drum matches the original quite closely. So what we do is we eventually roll off the top end. We get the bass quite thump heavy like that. It's got quite a hollowness to it as well, so we take out some of the frequencies. Alright, so here we put down the pattern of the song, of the bass drum. It kind of breaks down into two kind of separate rhythms. So the first half of the hook, for example, and the verse, they have quite basic 1-2 kind of drum movements. And then it picks up with the bass on the hook itself. But you'll hear it when you listen to the original record, you'll hear what I'm talking about. You see, so it goes 1, 2, 1, 2, well 1, 2, and then when you wait for the hook, it picks up and it has a kind of bounce to it, and then you hear the bass kind of follows that bounce as well. So that's what picks up the song. Eventually, you also use a transient shaper. And basically what a transient shaper does is it can increase the attack of anything, actually. So if it's a bass drum, it can make the kick thump harder at the attack stage. So you can even do that with the release as well. So you can kind of sustain the end of it as well and make it sound like it's longer and fatter. Or you can do the opposite and make it very short. So here I'm trying to find the vocal effect. There's a really quiet vocal effect in the original track, only heard during the hook, but because the vocals are so loud compared to the actual track of the instrumental, you can barely hear them. But on the instrumental, I can assure you, you would hear them. So what I did is I went through and I kind of recreated the sound myself. I literally went through my whole sound library, probably looked for all the vocal chants, effects, and I found one. I think it was in the machine library itself, and it had the exact sound, so I'm pretty sure this is the exact sound that was used. So what I did is I pitched it down, and then I cut off the first half of it. So basically here I'm just trying to match the pitch to the original sound.